let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
I'm John.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Get in the Chopper!
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
Here we are, we're the princes of the universe. Here we belong, fighting for survival. We've got to be the rulers of your world.
Hi, John.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Andrew. Are you with us?
Hello, I am here.
That's awesome. I am always a fan of podcasts that we have Andrew joining us.
Hell yes.
Well, that's cool.
We're very, very, very excited. Yeah,
We're
man.
blessed. We'd be lost on this movie without you.
Well, you
buddy.
mean
You're our,
we're lost anyways, but that's fine.
That is true.
You're our Sherpa.
He's our personal Ramirez. He's teaching us the ways of the immortals that have no names.
Yeah.
That's right. We're back with part 3 of our series on Highlander.
Yeah.
Is it Highlander or Highlander?
I
do
think
you
it's
guys like?
What's your poison? Highland? I say I've heard it both. Highlander is, I don't know.
Yeah?
Highlander. Highlander doesn't have the same ring to it.
Highlander.
Yeah, I have no idea. Now it's in my head and I can hear it both ways. So you should have spelled it out and asked me how I said it.
I think a Scottish person would probably say Highlander.
Yeah. But that doesn't sound as majestic.
Highlander sounds like that's your title.
I'm a Highlander.
Or you're like Homelander in The Boys.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
Homelander.
Basically the same dude. Basically
One thing
the
that
same
is
dude.
for sure is it's not the Highlander, just like it's not the Eagles. It's just Eagles. And this is just Highlander.
Well, this movie definitely sucks less than Eagles do as a band.
True story. The Eagles are
Hot
terrible.
take. They have
Most overrated band ever.
You know, I slot them in the same category as Queen.
Oh,
where they have
bullshit.
about 8 good songs and a whole lot of dog shit, but they don't have the Freddie Mercury factor working for them.
No. I would also say that the Eagles were not nearly as proficient musically a band as Queen.
I can't judge the musicianship.
Yeah.
I just think that Eagles, and I'm never going to call it, man, this is going to be amazing because this is actually topical to this episode.
Yeah.
Eagles are super overrated. And it's like the butt rock of American
Yeah,
classic rock.
No,
it's
weak.
just like it's yacht rock for Americana or something like that.
There's a lot. You got to go pretty far down the list of greatest bands before you hit the first American band on the list, is how I feel about
Interesting. That's an interesting take. Probably true.
Ooh.
I can think of like 4 or 5 British bands that are better than the best arguable American band. I don't even know who the best American band would be. Who you would argue? I would almost say U2 is better than the best American band.
No, U2 doesn't top like a Tom Petty or Prince.
That's true.
No,
okay.
band.
Tom
Petty,
and the
I guess you could
Heartbreakers.
call a band.
I mean,
But
Bruce
Springsteen.
Springsteen and the
No,
E
we
Street
got
Band.
that's what America. That's the American individual. We got the individual acts, but band wise,
That's true. Americans are more.
Elvis and we got
Americans
Michael
are more,
Jackson and, you
like
know.
I'm the boss and this is my backing group.
maybe Springsteen and his
Nirvana.
crew is. Yeah, maybe.
Bon Jovi.
They're so short lived though. It's tough, man.
Nah,
Aerosmith?
one Nirvana album takes care of all of U2's years and years of mediocrity.
Dude, Joshua Tree.
Joshua Tree's great.
is
but then-
better. A Joshua Tree is maybe not better. Is it equal to Nevermind? Octung Baby's awesome.
I mean, I like some of
Anyway.
the U2 work. That's fine. But, yeah, Nirvana
They just
takes
have
them.
been a shell of themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, that would be an awesome podcast just for us to rattle off the bands we like and don't. But that's not why we're here. We're here, and Andrew
No
is
one's
joining
here
us.
for that.
Andrew's joining us remotely from Houston, Texas, and we're here to talk about Highlander.
Not the Highlander. He's a Highlander.
He's an
Highlander.
So, I guess I will get us caught up on what happened in the last couple episodes. So this guy, Highlander, dukes it out in the garage of the Madison Square Garden, kills the guy. We see a lot of blue lightning and special effects. He beats it out of there, hides his sword. Cops show up, but as he's trying to leave, he is detained by the police. Brenda, who is a forensic scientist, finds a sword that's worth $1 million, $10 million, a lot of money, and dates back 1 billion years. Super, super old sword, and is flabbergasted, as are we. Why would she know what that sword is or what it's doing there? But so anyway, Highlander, we see through a series of flashbacks, has taken a wound, but he didn't die, and then everyone thinks he's a witch, and he gets kicked out of his village and ostracized, and he takes up residence with this chick, Heather. Then back in the real world, he goes to retrieve his sword, and Brenda, the cop, comes to do some forensic science stuff and retrieve some metal shards from the crime scene. Then moments later, he saves her from the villain of the movie, Kurgan.
He kind of cornered her in a bar and it was borderline. I'd like to walk you home, Brenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
He does some creepy stuff.
Yeah.
And then we flash back to medieval Scotland, where everything seems to be going great for him and Heather when Sean
just
Connery
banging it out in the countryside
fully
or whatever.
Clothed. And then Sean Connery's character Ramirez shows up and says, "Hey, buddy, you're an immortal, and I can train you." News that Highlander is none too pleased about. And so that's where we pick up, is right before epic training montage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, up until this point, it is almost the same as my life story.
Tell me all about it.
Tell me
Oh,
more.
yeah, you just watched it. Traveling back and forth through time, immortal,
Yeah.
survived a stab
gotcha.
wound, standard stuff.
The usual
absolutely.
shit.
I had no idea when we were working together that you were an immortal. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's how I survived.
It's how any of us survived.
So we pick up, I guess, sometime later. Highlander is buying into whatever Ramirez is selling. McLeod also is his name.
Yeah, we'll call him McLeod.
McLeod is asking Ramirez, well, how did this shit happen? Ramirez is like, I don't know.
Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I love that the writers couldn't even fabricate a backstory. They're just like, fuck it. Nobody knows. How does our stars not just pinholes in the curtain of night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some things are just, you just shrug and say, that's just the way
That's
that
just the way
you
it
Bruce
is.
Hornsby that shit.
Yeah, they really
Yeah,
wrote
right.
themselves into a corner with all of this stuff, because there's no way to explain how Ramirez has been around as long as he has, and now
centuries,
McLeod
yeah.
is only around for 20 years or so, and they're somehow the same.
He's also an immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born an immortal.
Yeah, well,
that's
see,
what we don't get.
That's the thing that I was talking about, and I don't know if the characters are born with this power,
Yeah.
and no one knows why it skips to
Yeah.
you, and someone else in your family doesn't have it or something.
It would be something that they could and probably didn't, it sounds like, explore in the sequels.
They do. Would you like to know how it's explained in the sequel that's worse than anything you could possibly imagine?
Yeah, tell me something.
Is it midichlorians?
They are close. They are aliens. They have been banished from their own planet for starting a rebellion
No.
against some all-powerful leader, and they get blasted over to Earth, where as rebels, then they're made in some sort of Hunger Games type situation to fight each other to the death.
That's fucking stupid as shit.
That's like some L. Ron Hubbard type shit right there.
The general plot line of the second movie also deals with protecting Earth from a hole in the ozone layer, so they really went off the rails.
This is the best we got for a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the best
The
idea we
aliens
got.
thing
We're bringing
is
Connery back.
terrible.
That's bizarre.
That's the worst bullshit I've ever heard.
That was that killed me in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and I'm like, fucking aliens?
I'm okay with the
I
idea of
hated
aliens in
that.
Indiana Jones, just because of you've already got supernatural things, mostly religious
this movie's
themes.
got supernatural things.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
to explain it away by being
Aliens.
yeah, it's dumb.
Aliens? Question mark? Does that
That's-
work for you?
Is that the next movie in the series?
Yeah.
Aliens? Anyway.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like also though Connery's questions about Why does the sun come up? Are stars just pinholes in the curtain of night?
But these are
It's
things
like,
we know the answers to.
Yeah,
Dick.
there are answers to those,
Fuck.
but maybe they didn't know them in the 1500s. But there are answers to these questions.
Yeah. Galileo. He probably met Galileo, for Christ's sake. Anyway.
But he says because they're different, people are always going to fear them and try to hurt them. So McLeod flashes back to the mob attacking him some years earlier, and then he gets kind of sad. Ramirez says to him, you must learn to conceal your powers until the time of the gathering. Ramirez explains that is when the few remaining people like them, they're all going to feel drawn to a faraway land where they fight each other for the prize.
Whatever any of that means.
There's zero need to
Yes.
conceal their powers because there is nothing showing their powers.
Correct.
Other than just don't get killed a lot.
Don't get your head
don't
chopped
suffer
off.
a grievous injury.
Don't get your arm lopped off, or don't get your guts spilled out, and then you're
we
fine
haven't
again.
determined if it's like a regeneration thing,
Salamander.
because we kind of gather that they can scar. Scar
Yes.
tissue is a
Yeah.
thing.
Good call. I think if you lost a limb, it's gone.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying that there's a lot of, in the battle sequences especially,
Okay.
why people aren't aiming for arms and legs is beyond me.
But basically, that's the linchpin for the plot. Yeah, unclear what the prize is. What doesn't make a lot of sense is this a cycle that just repeats over and over? That's my theory, is that they narrow down to one, and then the whole, then a new group of immortals are, spawned or some type shit.
Do you think they've ever gotten down to one?
Do you think,
I don't think
if not, how does anyone know what the prophecy is?
No one knows what the problem. That's what I'm saying, is it's never happened. People are going on their own.
Everyone seems
best
to know
guess.
what's going to happen.
I
now.
don't know.
But anyway, okay, you can't go down that road because we'll be here all
There's too
night.
many questions.
So it's going to cut to a Rocky style montage,
Mm-hmm.
which I got to tell you guys, I was enjoying the movie so far just because it's bonkers, but I was not genuinely compelled by it until you get to a training montage, and then I'm fucking all in.
Yeah, because
Right.
man, this is how I would be if I was running
around with
a
your
new immortal.
Swinging your sword in the woods and shit. Ramirez has McLeod sprinting along himself while he's riding horseback on the beach. They're practicing their sword fighting. Ramirez is doling out this Miyagi wisdom or whatever.
Mhm.
Ramirez seems to imply that you can only be killed by beheading. That's useful to know.
Uh-huh.
The training continues, more running, more sword fighting, more wisdom. Heather is getting a kick out of watching McLeod get his ass kicked, and then he's just bizarrely like, Heather, please. And it's what the fuck is this? Is that acting? What is that?
It was pretty rough.
There are a
Yeah.
few moments in this montage where I was like the part where Ramirez seems to miss McLeod, which makes McLeod start to yuck it up, like he did something good, only to be shocked when Ramirez's single sword strike knocks a whole tree down. It crushes McLeod. So that's all right. So if let's say all of your bones are broken, what happens to your body then? Do you still live?
The bones definitely fuse back together quickly, I think. Maybe you have to set them, but then I don't know. No one knows. We're never going to know.
Yeah.
I don't know that the screenwriters could have explained.
I would love to pursue what it means to break all the bones in a Highlander's body and then rearrange them however you want, because you're just like a skin sack at that point. But one of the things I think is critical to talk about with the movie is why Ramirez is helping another immortal.
Yeah, I've wondered this myself. Is there a group of immortals that they're we're not playing this game anymore and we're fine with the status quo?
He's the Jedi, basically. I think he's got to train light side,
Is there a light side?
immortals. He can't have Kurgan winning.
Yeah, the morality of
Kurgan
this is
can't win.
unclear.
That's the thing, I think, is that he wants to help other people who he thinks are good immortals, I guess, so that there's plenty of people to maybe beat Kurgan.
Right.
That's my thought
It's got,
on it. That's the only thing that I could think of that made sense.
with the Kurgan, it's got some sort of Dracula vampire sort of vibe to it, of he's sort of a Vlad the Impaler type character who would make all of Earth his slave if he wins the prize, which is seemingly omnipotence and omniscience. Whereas, and he acknowledges, Ramirez says at one point, the Kurgan's the strongest of all of them, so they have to train each other or work together to make sure that the Kurgan doesn't win. But
Oh, all right. Well, then that makes sense then.
the way you gain power, though, is by beheading the other ones, so it would make the most sense for you to kill as many of the other ones as you could before the Kurgan got to them, so that then you could overpower the Kurgan.
Or why didn't a bunch of light side, like righteous immortals, get together and go after this dude in one big group?
Ooh, yeah.
For sure.
What, is it against the rules to, like, team fight? I don't know. Highlander game theory is a whole show that we could get into, I think.
Oh man, we'll get into it too in the last battle. Maybe this will answer a lot of questions. We'll get to it later,
Yeah.
but we should probably move on for now.
We'll move on. I think we hit the nail on the head. I think he wants to. I think we're not particularly close to the gathering yet.
Right.
He can sense that, so he wants to create as many righteous immortals as possible, in case, because there's no guarantee he'll make it to the gathering, right? Or any one of them will. They don't survive that far. But anyway, there's amazing Scottish scenery and all this shit. So making me just want to travel. McLeod wants to know if Ramirez would kill him if they were the last two remaining. Ramirez does not answer the question.
Right.
He just laughs it off. So that's definitely not a no. He says, we must fight until only one remains. You're safe only on holy ground. None of us will violate that law. It's tradition.
This is an important point to remember.
Yeah. More lore, though, without any explanation, but
the wig on Lambert is terrible in this shot, by the way. And all the shots here with the sword fighting stunt double, terrible wigs.
Yeah.
Terrible wigs.
Which, God, why did they not cast a person who had the chops?
I don't know.
Anyway, later on, they're walking on the beach. They come across a stag, as you do.
Yeah, this whole part, I'm like, what's the importance of this scene? All right, but first we'll talk about it.
Yeah. The filmmakers had apparently glued antlers onto a stag because it wasn't the season for them to have antlers when they were filming, and the thing was just trying to get the antlers off the whole time,
That's rough.
It sounds twisted.
That's
I saw where some of it was like stock footage from National Geographic or some shit.
It looked out of place.
Yeah. So Ramirez urges McLeod to learn the final lesson, tells McLeod to feel the stag, feel its heartbeat, and feel its blood coursing. Things are getting kind of sensual, I thought. It was like it was borderline like erotic. Ramirez then takes off running and tells McLeod, "Come on!" We hear the heartbeats, they seem to sync up, and McLeod joyfully is screaming that he can feel the stag. They run down the beach like fucking Rocky and Apollo.
Everyone is thrilled. But I'm not sure what the lesson learned is.
It's like feeling the force almost.
Okay.
I think.
So you can feel a life force sometimes, but then throughout the rest of the movie, he is flabbergasted when people show up unannounced, when Kurgan just shows up. Can Kurgan still his heart?
Sometimes, Kurgan probably can. Sometimes he does seem to sense something is amiss.
Sometimes, and then other times it's like someone steps out from around a corner. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know you were there. It's this lesson I'm like, I get it. I felt like it was supposed to be a lesson in sensing a life force or syncing with a life force, but it never, maybe as a way to track something. I
don't know what would be the upside to syncing with the stag.
The only thing that I can think of after my years of watching this movie, because I feel like it's out of place, and I feel like this is what they intended, what I'm about to say, but it doesn't come across, is at the very end, when we know who has won the prize, that is described as being like hearing all the thoughts of all, acknowledging all existence all at once. And so maybe the modicum of quickening he's gotten at this point allows him to feel the stag. And so it's just like a teaser. It's like Ramirez giving him the first hit for free so that he's into the drug and wants to, but yeah, it just doesn't.
You're just taking your first step into a much larger world.
Yeah,
it only works on lower mammals.
Yeah, so he's the Yoda here before we get to the future where it's Terminator time again.
Gotcha. All right, I can live with that.
But yeah,
I like that explanation.
I think that's kind of what they were trying to explain, is that you would know, you're connected to all life and you can feel and sense it, but
right, it's like you're feeling the force. You're feeling that the rock, the tree flowing through all living things or whatever.
Right. It's exactly that bit where Yoda's feel it through the rock, the tree, the ship, the land.
So then, they take off down the beach. Like, it is almost shot for shot Rocky 3, like Apollo and Rocky racing on the beach. Yeah, Ramirez yells, "This is the quickening!" as they run up on a cliff and jump off in the ocean.
Okay.
It's literally not, though, right?
No.
The quickening is when one dies and you're absorbing their powers. There's got to be a lot of blue lightning going on.
Yeah.
But even like when McLeod was standing on the side of the hill just taking lightning bolts, Connery was like, "That's the quickening." I was like, "What?" All right, so let's talk.
Going on?
Is it? I think the quickening in general is a life force.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the tapping into the bigger world or whatever.
It's the quickening.
There you go.
Maybe he's using it in. Maybe he's using it in the sense of this is the quickening, like you're getting faster, and we're
sure.
Delivered a terrible pun.
Now, later on,
He would have been awesome if he yelled, "Get it!"
Later on, they're sword fighting on top of a mountain. McLeod disarms Ramirez, whose katana falls roughly 1,000 feet into a chasm, which fucking sucks.
Those
for
two
him.
people are definitely not Sean Connery or Christopher Lambert.
It would have been hard to get the fuck up there. I know Sean Connery didn't go up that mountain.
Man, how the hell are they ever going to find that sword?
No.
There's no chance.
Maybe he can feel it. Maybe he can feel it
through the quickening.
Maybe he can force bring it back to himself.
I don't think that's within their purview.
Maybe he'll ask the deer to go get it.
Yes. Stag sword.
McLeod revels while Ramirez is looking over the edge for that sword, and all it was missing was someone just yelling Drago. Drago!
Yeah. He's
it was that
arms
moment.
up in the air.
The camera circling around.
Yeah.
They certainly burn a lot of energy to get to the mountaintops to practice their sword fighting rather than just staying on the ground.
Yeah,
place.
I thought the same thing. I was like, damn.
It is good for your cardio, I suppose.
Yeah, one part of the training.
But later on, Ramirez, he seems to be giving McLeod his final test as a swordsman in the forest. McLeod seems to have surpassed Ramirez in skill at this point. McLeod knocks Ramirez down, holds his sword against Ramirez's throat. For a moment, it seems like maybe McLeod is going to kill him, but then McLeod helps him get up, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That sword fighting was more dog shit, though. Those guys aren't swordsmen.
I think they took 3 total swings, three
it was just
strikes.
Nowadays, that would not fly.
No.
You see fucking Ewan McGregor out there fucking killing the game.
Yeah.
They went through hours of sword fighting training for that.
Yeah, when you're doing it on the cheap, and in the 80s, I guess this is when you got the Canon people running the show.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
We don't have it in the budget to teach you how to use these weapons.
But so later on, there's this festival going on in the village. Heather seems to be in the process of buying a chicken.
My favorite part is the two Scots beating each other senseless.
Yeah, I like this, whatever this market town is, where there's dancing, music, and these two just giant dudes wailing on each other.
That is the quickening. Everything's not the quickening, dude.
Yeah, I was like, everything is the quickening.
We're brothers.
No, I think that's my new. That's going to be my new. Shut up and enjoy the Die Hard. Everything without an explanation is the quickening.
That's the quickening.
What do you think this is?
Relax,
it's the
dude.
quickening. It's fine.
What the hell's going on in the background over there? Oh, that's the quickening.
That's the quickening.
We're
Don't worry about that.
brothers. Yeah.
That's some drunken ass Sean Connery. I love that. But Ramirez and McLeod, they're walking and talking. McLeod says he wants a family. Ramirez,
what the? All I want is a family. Cry me a river, bitch. What?
McLeod, Ramirez is telling him basically their kind can't have children. Which does he mean literally cannot, or that they should not?
I think that they cannot.
They've been doing a lot. You know what? We've been seeing he and Heather have been doing a lot of fucking, and they don't have a kid yet, so that would sort of make sense.
And it's been several years that he's been on the lam.
He is a carcass full of blue lightning. That's all he is.
He's shooting nothing but blue lightning.
Full of quickening.
Yeah. She's like, he screams that during, that's the quickening. Do you feel it?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I don't know.
Did you feel the quickening?
Did you feel the quickening? She's like, it was pretty quick.
Be you come online. Like when you're out with the ladies, like, would you like to experience the quickening?
Oh man, it's going to be quick. I promise. So Heather returns victoriously with her chicken. McLeod gives her a hug. She then wanders off, says she's going to buy a dress.
He gropes the shit out of her ass. He gets a real big handful.
I love that when she buys the chicken and she's like running over, he like lifts his hands in the air, like,
you
way to
did
go
it.
with the chicken. You did it.
I like that. We should all be our
like she's
women's
a
biggest
child.
cheerleaders.
Yeah, that's exactly. I got the vibe too. It's like this simpleton.
She
I'm
managed
watching
to
out
buy
for
a
her.
chicken.
I gave her some play money. I told her to bring me the change. She better.
Oh, shit. So she wanders off again. She's going to go look for a dress. McLeod is deeply in love with her.
Right.
And Ramirez is telling her, you got to leave her, which is also vaguely just reminiscent of Jedi culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like no attachments or whatever the fuck. Which I told John about this recently, but I saw some recent quote from George Lucas
Right.
where he was like saying, well, Jedis don't have to be celibate.
Yeah.
They're just not allowed to have attachments.
It's like the Night's Watch in Game of Thrones. The dudes can
You
go
go-
into Mole Town and fuck all they want to, even though those dudes are supposed to be celibate. But it's like as long as you can't get married. You're not supposed to father children, but you can fuck all you want to.
So then I saw somebody online was saying, like, when the Jedi's peacing out in the morning, he's like, may the Force be with you because I won't be.
Nice.
Cold-blooded.
It is cold.
But so McLeody's sulking at this bad news. Ramirez tells him that he was born 2,437 years ago, and he's had 3 wives in his time. He says his last wife was a Japanese princess, and her father made his katana for him in 593 BC. The name he dropped, Masamune?
Yeah, Masamune.
Something like that, was actually apparently a like real life renowned sword maker, so that's kind of cool. He says the sword is one of a kind, just like his wife had been. Oh, he's like a wife guy. He says that when she died, he was shattered, and he's trying to spare McLeod that pain.
He didn't give a shit about his first 2 wives.
Right. Fuck those bitches.
I wonder, how old would you have to be before you lose track of how old you are? Like, do you count every birthday? I'm 2,437 now.
I forget now.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
I'm 37.
You're the same age as the peasant in Monty Python.
37. I know. I've been saying that all year.
I'm 37. I'm not old. I can't just call you a man.
I didn't know you were called, Dennis.
You didn't bother to find out, did you?
So McLeody's staring at Heather. Ominous music is swelling.
The look that Heather kind of throws back is also kind of shady. Like
Yeah?
I don't know, like she's picked up on some vibe from Ramirez or something. I'm not sure, but
apparently they don't subscribe to like the better to have loved and lost philosophy. It's just
No.
like better to not have loved
better to
at
save
all.
yourself the headache.
Just fuck whores like me, says Ramirez. Fucking 2,000 years of whores.
I mean, I think that this is one of the prevailing themes of the movie and one of the better Queen songs that pops out of this, of the Who Wants to Live Forever, which is like, yeah, that would be painful. Like to have to, I mean, I think about it with dogs. Like when we have our pets, like I outlive them. It sucks. And like,
Yeah.
It's a hard thing.
it's hard. And so like to think that like you got that level of attachment with a pet, a person that can reciprocate that love in the same way back to you and express it, like that would be like really painful. So I don't think it's terrible advice that Ramirez is giving.
I think Ramirez is trying to do him a solid.
I think he's trying to
He's
tell him like
trying to-
protect
I think he's
yourself.
trying to give him that good advice.
But think about how long 2,000 years is.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Can't
he
imagine.
2004, and he lived 437 years on it. 400 years is a fucking long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Anyway,
Later on, back at the McLeod castle, Ramirez is reminding McLeod that the first time they'd met, McLeod suddenly felt ill.
mm-hmm.
Ramirez is speculating that wasn't the first time he felt that way, was it? Or whatever the fuck.
You know, you're
McLeod,
right.
he recalls the day where he battled the Kurgan and the Kurgan stabbed him. Ramirez tells him that was a Kurgan. And it was that was that incident that led him to finding McLeod. No further explanation given with that. I did some research though on the internet that I'll get to, but
Okay.
that was just fucking odd to me.
It is.
But yeah, I had read somewhere. I don't know if this is retconned or if this is canon or what, but basically like in the Highlander verse, immortals don't become like magical and stop aging until they've lived through their first death experience.
Mm.
Interesting.
That's what I read.
Oh,
so I think
okay.
when Kurgan stabbed McLeod, it and he came near death, like that was flipping on the fucking LoJack or whatever that
Okay.
Ramirez could use to now feel him.
Yeah, that's
Out there.
I like that plot point. That's cool.
I don't know how the Kurgan found him.
That also
But-
explains the big plot hole that I've seen or I've felt for all these years, which is why is Ramirez so much older looking and in like body?
Right.
So if he
Yeah.
lived till he was like 50 or 60 or whatever before he had a near death experience, then yeah.
I think that's what I read. I don't know if that comes from the filmmakers, that just fans trying to make it make sense, but I'll buy it.
There's no way that the filmmakers came up with that. They couldn't explain any
Well,
element
maybe
of
by the
this
third
movie.
or fourth sequel or some shit.
Okay.
But by
fair
that
enough.
time, they were aliens.
Yeah, they were aliens.
By that
So
time,
they quickly
they were
forgot
aliens
that.
and
They,
it was
they
too
took
late.
that shit out. It became non-canon.
That's something we told you. It wasn't true.
But yeah, I think that explains all the different ages. Maybe Kurgan's just so much older and more ancient than the others that he can sense them even before they become immortal. I don't know. Because otherwise we don't know how he found McLeod here. 18-year-old.
Yeah.
18-year-old Lambert. That kills me that he's supposed to be 18.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Which means he's supposed to be locked in at appearing 18 the rest of the movie, and he's definitely a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
He looks older from start to finish too.
No doubt. I just don't know why they bothered to make him 18, or why they
Yeah, I don't
they
know.
claimed he was 18 in the beginning.
Yeah.
Didn't make sense. So, Ramirez explains that the Kurgans were an ancient people from the steppes of Russia. For amusement, they tossed children into pits with hungry dogs to fight for meat. Fucking shit. The Kurgan, he's the strongest of the immortals. He's the perfect warrior. If he wins the prize, mortal man would suffer an eternity of darkness. So he's like on the dark side of the Force shit, and that is my understanding of. That makes me think that's why Ramirez is trying to help.
And I also this is the point where we discovered that he is in fact a Kurgan.
He's one of many
He is
Kurgans.
a Kurgan.
He's the last.
call
He's
him
the
a
last
Kurgan
Kurgan,
from the-
though. So I think it's fair that he's now the Kurgan.
The Kurgan
Okay.
or just Kurgan in my book.
I
He
might
does-
call him a Kurgan
A Kurgan.
just because I was like, all right, he's one.
So McLeod wonders how we could ever fight such a savage. And Ramirez says, with heart, faith, and steel.
That's not an answer.
In the end, there can be only one. Okay.
so
That doesn't
again-
sound optimistic.
yeah.
though.
So again, is Ramirez going to be? Is he going to let McLeod kill him, or is he going to kill McLeod? Like let McLeod do the dirty work and then sneak up on him from behind and take his quickening?
I do think it's going to be like we're going to fucking gang up on him situation.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's what he's hoping for. I would assume. Then I don't know what the fuck happens after that.
Nonsense.
Later, Ramirez is talking with Heather about his tales of adventures and fucking like banging chicks.
Yeah.
It sounded like.
The storm a brewing as ever in the
Yeah.
background.
Where the fuck is McLeod? That needed to be explained. We needed the verbal explainer of where's
Chopping
McLeod.
wood or
He must be
outhouse.
far away.
Taking a massive shit.
Yeah.
A big shit.
It's from the haggis. they
There's
ate
too much
earlier.
haggis. You are a haggis. You're a haggis.
You're a haggis.
That's vital info that I would have liked to have had because he's nowhere to be found when he's needed most.
Chopping wood or blacksmithing, who knows?
He's
I don't
away
know.
for
Yeah,
business.
anyway, Ramirez.
Maybe he was in Market Town.
That's
still.
what I think. He's off in town doing something,
Yeah, I don't know.
delivering a goat, some shit. But Ramirez is telling stories of his fucking sexual conquest. She's pouring the wine out of a glass bottle, which I do not think was a thing in the year 1541.
Yeah, probably not.
But it was like we were one drink away from them to fucking.
Yeah, I
it
think
seemed like
the story that he's telling about how he showed up to romance one woman, but the woman wasn't there, so he romanced the woman who was.
yeah, she was into
That's
it
pretty
too.
badass.
Now Ramirez gets spooked when all these birds start flying around the castle rafters. It's on some John Woo shit. Ramirez, he warned Heather to get out of there.
He has felt a quickening.
I felt the quickening.
He felt a stag.
The Kurgan breaks through the door. He smiles as he recognizes Ramirez. So they've fought before and both lived to tell the tale, it seems.
They all know each other's names.
Yeah, a Kurgan has fought twice already in this movie and been like, all right, I'll be back later. Catch you later.
I'll get you later.
It's like, wait, Kurgan doesn't, it's like he doesn't want to kill anybody. I don't get it. Anyway.
Yes. He enjoys savoring the whatever the fuck
kill.
this is.
Yeah, he's thrilled to see Ramirez, though. He's like,
Yes.
fuck yes.
Oh, it's you. Kurgan, he breaks the large oak table in half with one swing of his sword. Kurgan demands to know where's the Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
Ramirez says it's too late because I've trained him to battle you. I don't know why the Kurgan's so obsessed with Highlander.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, what's maybe because he's green, he can like nip this in the bud before he gets good.
Maybe that's what it is.
Take his quickening, like
Yeah.
before he's a threat.
I don't know, but they get to sword fight in the two of them. Ramirez slashes Kurgan's throat pretty deep. Ramirez seems to have the upper hand as Kurgan is completely defensive. He's chasing Kurgan around the castle.
Man, there's a lot of like, he slashes his throat and then there's like this prolonged fighting stance instead of like, get in there and cut his head off.
Yes, agreed. Ramirez, he knocks Kurgan off the staircase. Yeah, but at least we got to give him credit for at least he went for the headshot right off. He's not like just trying to stab dudes and slash bellies or whatever.
Yeah.
But so he knocks Kurgan off this high staircase. Kurgan gets up, continues the fight. Ramirez taking his sweet-ass time coming down. It seems like Kurgan's sort of already recovered from his wound, which maybe you do recover that fast, I guess, in this world. Kurgan seems to be taking control of the fight. Big swing of the sword knocks this hole in the wall of the castle.
That drives me insane.
That bugged you?
Yeah, because with one chop, like it took him 3 chops to get through the oak door, 1 chop to chop the table in half, and with 1 swing, he knocks down the entirety of the top half of the castle.
Yeah, I agree that there are all kinds of inconsistencies in the battle because also, like, is Ramirez that strong? And if so,
I think they are.
Yeah, then I just
he
don't
didn't
understand.
knock that tree down. We saw.
Yeah, but still, like I'm like, why then? I don't know. Kurgan should have been short ahead. The movie should have been over 4 seconds ago.
Well, also, Heather should have run out at this point because she's down on the bottom floor all
she
by
should have
herself.
left the building.
They've climbed
She's
the
just
stairs,
chilling out watching,
and she's just down there screaming,
just shrieking.
Now there's like stones all toppling down around her, and she's still just chilling out. Yeah, another big swing and knocks down another wall. It seems like the whole castle is going to come down.
Mm-hmm.
I did think the effects were pretty decent for what they were. I don't know how they were accomplished, but it looked pretty good.
But I also don't understand, like, if you're swinging away and hitting a castle wall, that wall not going to fall inward most of the time, I would say.
Yeah.
And several of these walls fall inward when he hits them.
We don't understand how the quickening works. That is the quickening.
Yeah, chalk it up to the quickening.
The quickening, my friend, the quickening.
I will say that Clancy Brown's like throat gurgling noises when he had his throat slit was especially gross and
it was
effective.
disgusting.
I was like, he was like, it was pretty awesome.
So Kurgan goes, he knocks another wall down, exposing them to the full like lightning storm that's going on outside. Ramirez stabs Kurgan in the belly because why?
Cut off his sword arm.
Kurgan's screaming in pain. Kurgan pulls the blade out of his belly, forces Ramirez down, and slices his chest. Again, why? But Kurgan stands Ramirez up, runs him through from behind, I believe.
Again,
I don't know why are we wasting all the time with the belly and the chest?
I guess it's just causing agony. But again, like Ramirez knows, all these guys know the score. Like ample opportunity to remove heads, but instead everyone's stab happy or belly slashing happy. I don't get it.
The rest of the castle all falls away now, and Ramirez and Kurgan, they're up on this like freestanding staircase.
Cool shot there.
You were digging that shit?
I like the lighting and stuff.
So Heather's down there screaming. Kurgan asks who that is. Ramirez says that she's his woman. Kurgan says, not for much longer, or some type shit. Ramirez spits in Kurgan's face, and Kurgan says Ramirez is going to sleep in hell tonight. Pretty rough. He delivers the old ubiquitous there can be only one, and lops Ramirez's head off. It's basically like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader vibes on this.
100%.
There's a whole lot of lightning and thunder. That's like the transfer of power, right? That's what we think. You're absorbing that dude's quickening or some shit.
Is the quickening experience different for every immortal? Because we saw in the first few minutes of the movie that when McLeod absorbed Fazil's business, that there was some like levitating and blue lightning and stuff. But when Kurgan, he goes into some kind of trance and he's convulsing and sort of make an O face, nothing happens with the body. There's just a lot of lightning and convulsing, and I don't know.
I get the impression that it's proportionate to the number or disproportionate to the number that are left. because the final quickening that we see knocks down like a city block. So like as more and more of them are killed, perhaps maybe it does like a greater and greater quickening. You absorb more and more power.
I wondered that too. Is like if Kurgan's killed, say, 20,000 immortals in his life, that when you kill Kurgan, that it's gonna be like an atom bomb goes off.
Ooh,
It could be that Ramirez hasn't killed that many guys if he's more or less a good guy.
Yeah,
He's
that's
not
what I was wondering
killing
too.
Just willy-nilly.
Yeah, and then Fazil, maybe not a master swordsman, good but not great, and so the quickening absorption episode is not as grandiose as killing someone like Ramirez, who maybe has killed more guys than Fazil.
Interesting.
Then you kill Kurgan, and his shit is like, holy fucking hell! It's like aliens and stuff crawling out of his body.
I was going to say that brings up an interesting question that I had not yet considered, which was what was the starting number of immortals, or what's the total? I've never thought about that before. I've always thought it was like
Got to be pretty high.
15. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it could
I'd
be
say
anything.
thousands over time, tens of thousands
If
probably.
they're
When
new
you think
that's why it doesn't make sense that there's new ones being born and some have been around for 6,000 years already.
It's
just weird.
I jibe with that more just because the universe is a mystical place, and
Yeah.
so if someone's born an immortal, then it's like, all right, you're continuing the thing, but how is an immortal chosen? I guess is like my biggest thing. It's like
Maybe that's why the
how does
Kurgan's so
someone
mad is because he was like on the cusp of killing the last one, but the moment before a new one was born, and so he's like they've been coming, and he's like, God damn it, I can't finish this process.
It's fucking whack-a-mole.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm sensing Kurgan's frustration here.
Yeah.
Anyway, the staircase then collapses under Kurgan's weight. Heather goes in for a closer look.
Why?
Smart fucking move, Heather.
Get the hell out of
Kurgan
there.
pops out of the rubble and grabs her by the throat. It's like, you got to know better than that. She should have been long gone.
Hello, pretty.
Hello, pretty hair. No, that's the Night Slasher.
Yeah.
Cut to McLeod is staring out the window of his apartment. His buzzer rings. He goes downstairs.
He has finally changed clothes at this point.
All right, he got a fresh outfit on. His buzzer rings. He goes downstairs to his store. He finds his receptionist. She's trying to shoo away Brenda, who had come in there looking to find McLeod, who she thinks is Nash.
Right.
She had definitely dolled herself up for this visit. She had she was looking pretty good there.
Got a blowout.
He asked. Yeah, she was looking to make an impression here.
She looks like she got a perm,
Yeah.
got it wet, and then hung her head out the cab window on the way over to dry it. I mean, it is all over
It's
the
all
place.
over.
It
She's
is
doing her thing, man.
crazy,
Well,
crazy hair.
in theory, this is like the next morning after they're running with
Yeah.
the Kurgan that night. So like she's had a lot of time to get shit done.
Let me
Yeah,
go
sure.
get spruced up and come back to try to charm this
I'll come back
Highlander. So he asks what she wants. She says she came seeking his advice about a 7-foot lunatic hacking away with a broadsword at 1 a.m. in New York City. It was like a very speedy delivery, the way
Like
she did it.
She'd had it
It was like a
prepared.
madcap delivery. He said he doesn't know about the broadsword. She then wants to know what he knows about a Japanese sword from 600 BC. He says, look, I don't deal in exotic weapons. Then he just grabs her and sort of drags her away to speak privately. It's weird to just put your hands on a stranger. Then he asks her if she cooks
Yeah.
and is like suggesting that you want to cook me dinner, basically.
You're a woman, right?
Like, I was thinking we'd have dinner.
He is the creepiest man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And the fucking receptionist, Rachel, she seems pleased.
She is living for his game.
She's happy to see McLeod macking again. Apparently,
Macking
we don't know
again.
we don't know their backstory yet, but we will learn it soon enough. Now, back at police headquarters, the detective, he's telling the lieutenant that he saw Brenda at Nash's antique shop. Presumably, they have McLeod under surveillance, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting big nostalgia from that old school Doritos bag
Yeah.
that he was eating out,
yeah.
the old design.
Walt.
Reminded me of fishing trips with my dad when I was real
Yeah, I
little.
like that Walt is shoeless in eating Doritos and telling Frank about how he's either tailing Brenda or he accidentally saw her at McLeod's antique shop.
Right. I think he's staked out. I think they're staking out McLeod at this point.
Agreed.
Do you let your disgusting lieutenant put his shoeless feet up on your desk after a night of stakeout?
I guess.
I don't know.
This was the subordinate that had his feet
Yeah.
off, his shoes off.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Those feet reek.
We don't know the politics of their relationship, but yeah, that's
Those
pretty
two guys
nasty.
spent a lot of time together. Like, I think Walt is the guy that, like, he's probably Frank's best lieutenant, whatever. So probably
When they were both going through their third divorce, they were sleeping on each other's couches,
eating Doritos,
eating
right,
Doritos.
sucking Dorito crumbs off the table.
Now, later on that night, McLeod is just chilling in his pitch black apartment,
Looking out the window.
As
looking out the
always.
window, pensive. The receptionist Rachel enters. That shit had me thinking, like, oh damn, him and Rachel are like a thing
Oh, really?
as well. They had a thing going on the side, but he's able to detect her presence. Asks her what she wants. She says that if people come asking about you, what am I supposed to tell them? And he says to tell them that he's immortal.
I like all the stuff. You get like a mommy vibe or caretaker vibe from her immediately, because she goes
Yeah.
over and like starts tying his tie for him and stuff. So I didn't ever get a sexy vibe, but immediate like
Even at the end of this scene?
mm-mm.
Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But she knows about his true nature, we gather.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, there's a smash cut to McLeod running across a battlefield in World War II.
A literal smash cut. It's awful.
Yeah.
That was the one that bugged you?
This was the one that I was like, that is the worst transition I've ever seen.
The lion transition later gets me, too. Like, straight from, like, romantic sex to, like, a lion snarl.
But at least that was like from when this was like a bad PowerPoint.
Yeah, it looked like
presentation.
broken glass, but like done in a lawnmower man style.
yes. That is a great call. Exactly like Lawnmower Man.
That's awesome. But yeah, McLeod, running across this World War II battlefield. German troops are swarming around. McLeod finds a little girl hiding in a barn. It's young Rachel. She says that her family's all dead. It was giving me like strong Newt from Aliens vibes.
Mm-hmm.
He picks her up, carries her out of the barn, but he gets shot in the back by a Nazi. The Nazi is approaching. McLeod rolls over, yanks the machine gun away from him, and
Well, but I wanna ask real quick. Where are they? Because to hear her talk, she sounds
they're in France.
British. They're
I'm
supposed
going,
to be in
I'm
France?
going France.
Because she sounds English later on.
Oh, that's true.
And like the Nazis never
Never-
set foot in Great Britain. They
They were
bombed the
Brit-
shit out
I
of
guess
it.
they were Brits
And
in
so then
France.
the only thing I could think of is that like he adopted her and she was educated in Great Britain or something. like
Yeah,
that.
that's true. If he had been maybe took her to England and raised her
It's
there.
the quickening.
We'll go with that.
Her accent is the quickening.
He's-
It's true. It's true.
So
It's true.
my question
But-
here is why he's not like hero of the battlefield. Like he could go out.
Why didn't he join up?
He could go
Why
out
is he
like
not
a
fighting?
Wolverine, because I think there's one of those.
yeah, you'll never get beheaded in a machine gun battle.
Yeah, I think that there's like one of the X-Men where Wolverine's fighting in World War II and he's like, King Nazi killer. I feel like this could be his move also. He's a badass. He knows
Do they
how to
have some
sword
sort
fight.
of code? But they never talk about like code of like don't interfere in human affairs type shit. But they never talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if he's already trained to fight hundreds of years before this, why is he not using his powers for awesome?
Yeah.
For good.
Why is he
Yeah.
running? Just walk. If you get shot, you get shot. You're gonna heal.
That's also
That's
a good
that's a great point too. Just like
It's like Superman ducking from guns. It's that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So McLeod, he's got this Nazi at gunpoint, and the Nazi starts speaking some German to him. Then he says, "Whatever you say, Jack, you're the master race," which felt like anachronistic dialogue
Mhm.
to me. I'm like, that's way more modern, I think, than how people were talking like in the 30s.
I think I've gathered from the German. I always like to figure out what people are saying, but it sounds like he tells the dude to move, and the guy's like, "Nope, you'll have to shoot me."
Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever you say, dude. Yeah, McLeod mows him down. Then he scoops up young Rachel, walks away. Back in 1985, Rachel is telling McLeod that she can tell that he's lonely, and he refuses to let anyone love him. And I personally felt like the chemistry between Lambert and this actress was a lot better than the chemistry that he has with the Brenda actress. But it's also like straight up creepy that, yeah, he was basically like her father.
Yeah, that's what
figure.
I got. And
Yeah.
it's
So you
probably
can't
never
really
got
go
sexy.
down that road, but
She's his ward.
Yeah, I wish they had tried to like imply the romantic element before they revealed that the love and the
Yeah.
closeness that they have is because he's known her since she was a child and like adopted her, because it makes it 100 times creepier, infinitely more creepy that we see that he picked her up and grabs her off a battlefield in France, and now they stole her away. Now she's his.
so they caress each other's faces.
Mhm.
Just a good old platonic face caress. McLeod gives her a platonic kiss on the cheek.
Mhm.
He walks out the door to the store to go off to meet Brenda. I can't for the life of me figure out why he's so enamored by Brenda. What is it? What is it? What has she got? That
I wish
he's
that there had been some like cuts of he sees her and it immediately like reminds him of some like Heather or something like
Someone?
that. But it's like it was like
He basically just
thunderstruck
saw her
and-
in the parking garage,
but didn't
and
even
started
really
stalking her.
But didn't even really get a good look at her.
That would have been a nice touch if the same actress who played Heather played
Yes.
Brenda.
Like in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Now you're talking. Yes, 2 Winona Riders.
Yeah, in that vibe of like,
Yeah.
I mean, she not is Heather reincarnate, but like something that she's close
You can
enough.
see her spirit in her. Yeah, I get you. I like that
He saw
idea.
her quickening.
He felt a quickening in his pants. I'm
But
sorry.
anyway.
Yeah, that's enough for this week. Jesus Christ,
Certainly is.
I'm spent.
That's not to say we're not enjoying, because we definitely
No.
are.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I'm looking
110
forward.
out of 10 would recommend watching this movie.
This is a movie everyone should see.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But
It's our job to shit on it,
No, that's what
to
we
find the
do.
nitty gritty. That's what we do.
There's so much. There's rich whatever the fuck here, fertile ground
Yeah.
for us to rip this fucker apart.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah,
It's fun, but it does not stand up to strict scrutiny. I think what we're looking at here.
Those are my favorite
Yeah.
movies. The ones that you start pulling at the loose threads and the fucking whole thing falls apart. I love that. Anyway,
it collapses in a pile of quickening on your mom's carpet.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. No one knows what it means.
God bless you, John.
We're gonna go wipe up the quickening.
That's right. I gotta go. The sock is stiff with my
I
quickening.
know I spilled my Nestle quickening on the rug over here.
We should shout out our friends in the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network.
Yeah.
We should tell those folks, hey, what's up? We love you guys. Thanks for listening. And also tell folks to go check us out on our own catalog and listen to us there.
Yeah, yes.
All
All the
that-
things that John just said, all of them. I reiterate them. Okay. Thanks for listening,
Yeah.
and we'll be back.